You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
I think both of us feel a sadness because we didn't have the time to share with each other, but we've got it now.
Nobody is owed a relationship, but I believe that they are owed that information about themselves and their own identity.
The popular new DNA testing kit's helping one local woman and thousands of others find family. But while family and lost loved family is great, some warn companies are selling your personal information on the open market. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on DNA testing in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. It wasn't long ago we were complaining about the lack of rain and our dying lawns. Tonight, our pools runneth over. You are looking at a funnel cloud that was taking in earlier today in Sarasota, and the weather radar right now. Let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist Bob Harrigan to find out how much longer the rain will last with the first alert forecast. Bob.
Well, Alan, to say the least, it will last for the next 7 days. It's not going to be an all-day rain for those 7 days, but boy, heavy showers, thunderstorms likely. We saw that funnel cloud earlier, right around 2:20 this afternoon, near City Island. That was taken by Amy Blair, and she sent that in. We have the steady stream of moisture coming in, and we have had that for the past 5 days now, and that has really caused some problems with some of the rivers around town. We do have some flooding going on there. On top of that, we have the potential for a tropical low emerging out of the Western Caribbean and getting into the Gulf of Mexico on Friday. The chance of that developing over the next 5 days is only at 20%. That number may climb, though. The forecast models are suggesting that we will see a low. There are two schools of thought. One has it going toward Florida, while another has it going toward Louisiana, as well as into Mississippi and Alabama over the Memorial Day weekend. But until then, we're still going to see some heavy weather here regardless. And look at this rain. It continues to develop and build. Here's another line of showers that has just popped up to give you an indication just how moist things are around town. Just a little bit of lift and a little bit of instability in the atmosphere, creating some heavy weather. Now beginning to exit northwest Manatee County, but it's still there at Anna Maria. Northwest Bradenton starting to lessen somewhat near Robinson Preserve, getting some rainfall. Bradenton had a tremendous downpour just about an hour ago, and that is now starting to subside there. And you can see that rain moving off to the north and west. But as I said, still raining near State Road 64, near Cortez, also in Holmes Beach, getting some rain there. This just popped up within the last half hour, as I said, some heavy rain along I-75 from Fruitville southward down into Clark Road, and all this again pushing to the northwest at around 10 to 15 miles an hour. As I alluded to, it's not over yet, as this will again fire up tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. Look at the rainfall totals just since Saturday. We're getting 6.1 there into central Sarasota County, 4.1 in southern portions of Manatee County, and 5.4 inches of rainfall since Saturday right there along I-75 and near Clark Road. So the ground is saturated, super saturated, and the heavy rains that we are expecting tomorrow afternoon will only run off into the roadways, causing some big headaches for travelers. Well, much more on this coming up in a few minutes. Alan?
Thanks, Bob. And as Bob just said, all this rain is leading to some flooding on the Sun Coast. Local utilities are concerned the change from extreme dry to extreme wet may damage infrastructure, specifically underground pipes that could lead to more water main breaks over the next few weeks.
Water fills all the void spaces and the pores and the sand and the shell and all those things. And things move. They move a little bit.
The city of Venice says its utility workers are on high alert to respond to any breaks that could occur, especially with more wet weather expected this week. It is a victory for folks who are pushing for the closure of School Avenue at Sarasota High School. This afternoon, the Sarasota City Commission voted 4-1 in favor of extending the hours of when School Avenue will be shut down to all vehicles, pedestrians and bicycles. The street running through the Sarasota High School campus will now be closed from 6:30 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night during school days. Previously, it had been closed from 6:30 to 2:30 in the afternoon. School safety is the main reason for the change.
I've been through a lot of different situations there with drug dealers, pedophiles, people running from the law that were armed, that could have just come on our campus very easily. So to me, this is the best thing that could happen right now. I'd still like to see the road closed permanently.
We'll have more on what the commissioners decided to do coming up tonight at 11. Last October, the World Rowing Championships brought in more than $23 million in economic impact for the area. Now, Nathan Benderson Park is looking at its next major rowing event this weekend to jumpstart what organizers hope will be a sport's growing in popularity. It's the first time the NCAA Division I, II, and III Women's Rowing Championships will be held in Sarasota. Benderson Park will host the NCAA Women Rowing Championships again in 2020 and 2021. I'll follow up now on the story we told you about last week about how many surveillance cameras in Sarasota are not working. The city of Sarasota says the 66 cameras in the city were installed as early as 2010. As many as 10 are not functioning properly. Many of the cameras are inoperable due to new construction, tree growth, wireless connectivity issues, and some of the cameras were vandalized. The Sarasota Police Department has been in charge of the cameras since they were put in place 8 years ago.
I think the cameras are really important for us to be able to supplement doing our job and try to identify individuals that are involved in crime.
The Sarasota Police Department says it will cost thousands to repair the existing cameras and add new cameras with more advanced technology. Tonight, the Florida Highway Patrol is looking for the driver who hit and killed a 19-year-old Venice man. The accident happened on South Tamiami Trail near Short Road around 11:30 last night. Troopers say Zachary Aubry was trying to cross 41 when he was hit by a maroon SUV. The driver then took off. Aubry was airlifted to Sarasota Memorial Hospital where he died. If you have any information about this accident, you are asked to call the Florida Highway Patrol. Florida recorded 766 boating accidents in 2017, up 7.3% from a year ago, while 67 boating-related deaths match the total from 2016. This according to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. The commission says its 2017 boating accident statistical report is used to encourage boaters to focus on simple, effective steps to make boating safer. People falling overboard has been the leading type of fatal accident for the past 15 years. Drowning is the leading cause of death.
Our largest piece for contributing and fatalities is falls overboard. The majority of those are not wearing their life jackets. Many of them are also being reported as good swimmers, but their choice to not wear a life jacket usually ends up in a sad result.
More than a third of the 2017 accidents involved collisions between vessels, of which 38% were due to inattention or the operator failing to maintain a proper lookout. Check this out. A waiter at Sharky's on the pier in Venice gave his customers quite a show yesterday. When a snake slithered onto the beach sand, Dylan Baston grabbed the snake with his bare hands. He then used a plastic claw to move the snake away from the customers and into the grassy area. No word yet on what kind of snake it was or if it's now on the menu. Still to come, with so many resources out there to find more about ourselves, whether it's right to find out about our ancestry or to find out about relatives. Is it worth it in our terms of private information being protected?
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Every time you purchase a fishing license or register your boat, you're helping to preserve our nation's coastlines, lakes, rivers, and streams, protecting memories for generations to come. Learn how your participation in boating and fishing can help the environment at takemefishing.org/conservation.
Don't allow your weight to threaten your health or control your future. Excess weight or obesity can cause emotional and physical health risks. But you can take control. The Your Weight Matters campaign offers free resources and tips to help you measure and understand your weight. Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. The free toolkit prepares you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight. Your weight does matter. Take the challenge and take control today.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
2017 was the year DNA testing exploded. Millions are now part of a growing database that can connect you to long-lost family members across the globe. But not every story has a happy ending. Here's ABC7's Adam Cellini with more. Adam.
Yeah, Alan, these DNA home testing kits are advancing quickly, and there are still growing questions about privacy and ethics. Bradenton resident Joanne Glim has always been fascinated by her genealogy, even writing a book about her ancestors and their history. But when she was 13, she stumbled on a mystery she could never solve.
It was a Christmas card, and I opened it up and I looked at it, and it was from my father to my mother.
Her father, who was stationed in Japan for the Navy, revealed he had a second daughter while deployed.
Well, I couldn't wait to go to school the next day to tell everybody that I had a sister, which my mother was very, talked to me for a long time and said, no, we're going to just keep that in the family for right now.
Her parents hardly spoke about the little girl who was put up for adoption in Japan. 60 years later, Joanne got a call from a woman in Nashville, Tennessee, who had read her book.
She said, yes, we're cousins, but she said, I also think I found your sister.
The relatives in the book matched part of the woman's family tree on Ancestry.com. She had submitted one of those DNA tests and linked to someone else in the 10 million person database, Tomiko Haas, Joanne's biological sister.
I was thrilled, absolutely thrilled.
The DNA database exploded last year with the popularity of take-home DNA testing kits. Ancestry.com and competitors like 23andMe spent millions on aggressive advertising campaigns and holiday discounts, and the number of people who had taken DNA tests doubled by year's end.
I read emails that come in every day, and it's a daily occurrence and multiple times a day.
Kelly Newby is a story producer for 23andMe with an estimated database of 5 million people. Not all stories have happy endings. There have been questions about the privacy of DNA tests, which have also connected investigators to crime suspects or parents to children who are part of closed adoptions. Newby says there are privacy controls available if you wish to use them.
It's an opt-in situation. You need to opt in order to be public seen and then connected to people. If you choose not to opt in, then you're not going to be connected to people.
Cece Moore, a genealogist who started a Facebook page called DNA Detectives, warns people trying to find their family members there not to expect an immediate relationship.
Nobody is owed a relationship, but I believe that they are owed that information about themselves, their own identity.
Luckily for Joanne, it appears her story will end with a relationship. With her father now gone, she's slowly teaching Tomiko about him and their family. The two plan to meet for the first time in their lives in just a few months.
I think both of us feel a sadness because we didn't have the time to share with each other, but we've got it now.
Ancestry.com says they do share DNA with research partners with consent from their customers. However, under certain circumstances, third parties, such as law enforcement, could access some of that medical information as well.
Adam, thank you. Coming up in a moment, part of the ABC7 family who found his long-lost family through DNA testing, as well as what you should know about doing it first. When we come back to the traffic light.
The bugs were cleaned off. I cleaned the bugs off.
I got a brand new jacket.
I checked the weather forecast.
We packed our rain gear.
But I never made it out of the driveway.
I Googled Sturgis.
Getting ready for a motorcycle ride? Save $10 on Duracell Ultra AGM motorcycle batteries at Batteries Plus bulbs.
I even got a new tattoo.
What?
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score. It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach. Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think, I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free.
You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding like faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Welcome back. It's all the rage. You've seen the commercials for 23andMe and Ancestry.com. Find out where you came from. The answer might be a little different than your folks told you. In some cases, people are tracking down and meeting long-lost relatives. Wow. On the other hand, are you considering who now has your DNA information? Can they sell it? Use it for research? Is there a possibility of your DNA information, including genetic disorders, finding their way to, let's say, your insurance company? And joining us for more are ABC7 broadcast director Chris Molinez, who just found out his long-lost relatives through 23andMe and Ancestry.com, our consumer watchdog Jerry Zivick, and ABC7 reporter Adam Cellini. And Chris, let me start with you. By the way, if you're doing this right now, who's directing the broadcast? That's another show. Chris, what motivated you to go to 23andMe and Ancestry.com to find the answers to your family history?
Well, I've known, growing up, I've known I was adopted for years. When I was about 6 years old, my great-grandmother accidentally let it slip. Passively in a conversation with my parents and me. They were talking about something, to be honest with you, I don't remember, and she casually mentioned, oh, well, she doesn't get that from you guys, she gets that from, her. And my parents kind of bugged out a little bit at first, and on the way home we had a long conversation about, what it means to be adopted. I was 6. So for as long as I can remember, I've always known I was adopted. My parents never kept it from me. I was young at that age, so that's partially why they hadn't told me, but they had always intended to tell me. I have a younger brother who we also knows he was adopted, and he was told when he was a bit older than I was when I found out. So it's never been a question for me, you know, that I was adopted. What drove me to go to Ancestry and 23andMe was for one thing, New York State is a closed state. I was adopted, so all of my records are sealed. I could not get any information, anyhow, any way, about who my biological mother was, who my biological father was, any medical history from either maternal or paternal, anything of that sort. So to find out this information, I had to do the research myself, and doing that research online when you have absolutely nothing to go to. I knew my mother was 23 years old. I knew she had some challenges, and that's it. And then biological dad, nothing. There was nothing listed, no information at all.
Adam, I don't know if you know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it anyway. Whether it's 23andMe or Ancestry.com, how many people go there to find lost relatives, and how many people go there in terms of finding out whether they're Irish, French, Italian? Is there a percentage?
I don't know the exact percentages, but I can say that there are multiple reasons other than just finding family. A lot of people have medical questions, you know, about their past and are trying to track down that information. 23andMe just came out with another test for women to see if they have a certain gene that I guess is conducive to a type of breast cancer. So this is kind of the new frontier that's happening with this testing. As you mentioned, other people just wanting to find out their ethnicity, and Ancestry.com is actually working on a bigger project right now to build a database of ethnicities. Sometimes in certain countries where people aren't doing these DNA tests, whether it's they don't have access to the internet or don't have the finances, they're trying to get more info, more data, more DNA from those areas, and better specify what you are. Right now, you could get lumped into a country that you really have no connection to. So there's a lot of different reasons. I don't know the exact percentages, and it seems like kind of hit or miss. Some people go to it for family, and then some people just end up finding family.
Jerry, if you could use this opportunity as a teaser, because obviously Chris's experience is just absolutely wonderful, but there are certain things out there for a consumer watchdog that are red flags, and briefly, what would that be?
I think you have to be prepared to be really surprised, and be prepared for the machine of evil to do something really negative.
I guess that's what we call a tease.
Yeah, that's what you asked for, to do something really negative with your data. If you think about it, all this internet, hasn't it all, everything that was supposed to be so good has become so distorted and so misused. Our privacy is lost. So it could be a really terrible thing what's going to happen.
Okay, hold that thought. We are just getting warmed up, and we'll have much more on DNA testing right after we check the First Alert forecast. Stay with us.
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch ABC7 wherever you are, on our live stream, on mysuncoast.com, on the ABC7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, dining with recipes, and My Suncoast Restaurant Guide. Visit mysuncoast.com. Click on the Apps tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for Apple and Android.
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate, but the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. Dot Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
With the Brinks prepaid MasterCard, it's easy to manage our money. I get a text alert every time our card is used, so we always know our balance.
And we're protected from unauthorized transactions. Brinks gives us peace of mind.
Introducing the Brinks prepaid MasterCard. With direct deposit, you can get your paycheck or government payments up to 2 days faster.
Brinks knows what's valuable to me, time.
Load money onto your card and then shop online, pay bills. With Brinks, you can conveniently manage your money online and with the mobile app. Call now or go online to get your Brinks prepaid MasterCard. And in this TV-only offer, personalize your Brinks prepaid MasterCard with your photo for added security. Brinks knows what's valuable to you. Call right now to order your Brinks prepaid MasterCard.
Call 1-800-287-3014.
Or go online. Call now.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone.
Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
Our conversation on DNA testing continues right after we get the check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, First Alert weather days coming up here, especially I think Friday and Saturday and possibly lingering into Sunday. This is a look at the funnel cloud that was spotted earlier today, right around 2:18 from the old Salty Dog out there in City Island looking toward Lido. Never touched the ground, and that's the kind of spin up we may see with some of these cells as they make their way through, especially I think on the weekend, because we're going to have a little bit more twist in the atmosphere due to the possibility of a tropical low getting into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, this is just a tropical plume of moisture coming up from the Caribbean through Cuba, through the Florida Straits, right on into Florida. And that isn't going to change either before we get the tropical low that will possibly pop up. You can see that rain was heavy at times just over the last hour, and it's redeveloping behind it. So we're getting some training of showers moving over the same location. And you can see that rainfall pretty heavy now near Lido. Also right there near downtown Sarasota, going to get some rainfall as well, and some heavier rain along I-75 in Fruitville, stretching all the way up toward University Park. And you can see the general motion is off to the northwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. The rainfall rates with some of these cells up to 1.5 inches to almost 2 inches an hour. And that's torrential downpours that occur, and that causes driving problems. Obviously not much going on now in Northport, Inglewood, Venice. I think it'll stay relatively quiet after 9, 10 o'clock tonight. We could still see some pop-up showers here and there developing already. Just some rainfall estimates, 2.7 near Osprey, and Nokomis had some heavy rainfall all the way to the Venetian, and we saw some heavy rainfall as well near Gulfgate. Reporter there indicating up to 2.5 inches of rainfall. Get a look at the tower cam at 1 o'clock this afternoon. You can see a periods of showers and heavy storms come through. And I stopped it right here. This is when the water spout was occurring, or well, not water spout, but funnel cloud, but it could have been a water spout, had a touchdown into the Gulf of Mexico. And then the heavy rains moved in, and that's going to be a similar scene played out again tomorrow, mainly in the afternoon and evening. I think that'll happen over the next couple of days. And then we could see showers and storms at any time during the day on Friday. These are the flood warnings that are in effect right now in some of the rivers. Just going over flood right now, as far as that goes, about 1 inch or two above the flood. As far as that goes, in near Horse Creek in DeSoto County, it's at 12.1, flood stage is at 12. And then again, we have also at the Manatee River at the Myakka Head, some minor flooding taking place there. And that will only get worse if we see more rainfall, obviously flowing into those rivers and streams around town. You can see that quite clearly, that plume of moisture extending hundreds of miles southward all the way down into the Western Caribbean. And all of it is just kind of streaming in our general direction. And that will be the case, I think, through Tuesday and Wednesday. Here's the forecast tonight. Generally, we'll look for clouds after 9, 10 o'clock. Most of the rain should be over. And then they'll be back, though. Showers and storms developing with the heat of the day. And that'll happen mainly after 1, 2 o'clock. And so it looks like a pickup could be a problem for some of the schools around town. We could get some heavier showers and storms developing, especially after the 4 o'clock hour, and then working their way off toward the west. Rainfall rates with those could be up to, again, 2 inches an hour. You'll notice the warm temperatures right along the Gulf Loop current there. For us, the water temperatures in the upper 70s makes a big deal in terms of tropical development. You have to have water temperature at least 80 degrees or above for storms to really generate and get going. So the closer to Florida, the least likely it will be a tropical depression or storm, but there's still a chance, and that chance at 20% as we showed you earlier. 74 right now. We have clouds and showers at the airport and more rain moving on through. And as far as the boating forecast goes, southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots tomorrow. Not the best of days in the afternoon and evening for boating. 70% chance for storms, mainly in the afternoon. 50% chance for those same timing of storms on Wednesday and Thursday. And then we'll be watching the tropics closely on Friday and Saturday, when we could see a lot more rain at any time during the day on both those days. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke, it's a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score. It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach. Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free. You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
We are problem solvers striving for answers. Relevancy on every platform. We are driven to create content that's compelling, engaging, where it matters. We are neighbors that care about solutions, believers in making a difference, leaders, innovating in an exciting era of multimedia, reaching to always be the gold standard in our evolving landscape. We are Raycom Media. Find your opportunity today.
Dear parents, it's time for a pop quiz. What's the best kind of play for kids? Play that makes us think? Or helps us pretend? Or teaches us rules? Or to be creative? Actually, every kind of play is important because different kinds of play give us different kinds of skills. Help us mix up the ways we play. Okay, class dismissed. Now go play.
Welcome back. DNA testing, you could find out a lot about yourself, and so could others. Joining us for more, our ABC7 broadcast director, Chris Molinez, who just found his long-lost relatives through 23andMe and Ancestry.com. Our consumer watchdog, Jerry Zivick, and ABC7 reporter, Adam Cellini. And Chris, you know what Jerry is going to say about concerns that he has about privacy issues. How did you balance your desire to find your family with knowing that a lot of people do raise questions about what they do with your DNA information after you're done?
I did a lot of research. I read the privacy statements, 23andMe, Ancestry, and I more or less went in pretty much knowing, what, for the most part, they did with my data. Now, on Ancestry's website, their privacy statement states quite clearly that your DNA results, your raw DNA results, are your property. They cannot and will not sell that property to anyone for any other purposes. They do request, and I did consent in my case, for that you would allow for your results to be used for research. What that research is, I really didn't dig into. To be perfectly honest with you, in my opinion, I wanted to contribute what I could to a good cause.
We have some of those privacy statements. Let's put them up on the screen here in terms of genetic health risks, finding out things that you may not know about yourself. Our reports do not include all possible genetic variants that could affect these conditions. Other factors can also affect your risk of developing these conditions, including lifestyle, environment, and family history. When it comes to genetic issues, that you can request the destruction of your biological samples, and you must contact member services for that. And you can request Ancestry to delete your DNA data. We will delete all genetic information, including any derivatives, genetic information from our production, development, analytics, and research systems for 30 days. And finally, it says in terms of when you download your DNA information, your DNA data belongs to you. You should always have the option of downloading a file with your DNA data, and it shows you how you could do that. So Jerry, based on what Chris says and some of these disclosures here, do any of your concerns, are they allayed at all?
No, because I'm sure, I'm 90% sure, let me back off a little, that if you'll read fine print somewhere, there's a way that they can obfuscate all of those issues. What happens if the company gets sold? Do those promises survive a sale? Or what happens just like if you read your HIPAA disclosure? The doctor has the right to change it whenever they want. So if they change those rules, are they requiring Are they going to notify you that we've changed what we're doing? No, the burden's all upon the consumer. And this is to me, it's not really truthful.
Is there any evidence out there that people's DNA information are being sold to whatever companies, or, as I brought up earlier, possibly being leaked back to your insurance company, and you could see what the problem would be there? Let's say you have a genetic disposition for, let's say, breast cancer. An insurance company might be less likely to want to insure you.
Theoretically, health insurance companies can't use that information. However, we're living in a time when regulations are being dismantled at an alarming rate. There's a law called the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act that's supposed to protect people's privacy. But there are so many holes in that act. If you're a company that has less than 15 employees, you're not even covered by that act. And it does not, what happens if you're going for life insurance? What happens if you're going for disability insurance? It's not covered. They can use that information. And you're not allowed to use that information when you hire somebody. However, companies have done that, and there's a lot of lawsuits about that.
And here's the other question. Who is regulating this?
Well, in terms of GINA, this Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act, that's being done basically by the EEOC. They're the ones that are enforcing this as being unequal. But then there's also a whole overlay with the ADA. If you have a genetic problem, does a company have to make a reasonable accommodation under the ADA?
But I would actually ask the question is would the science hold up in court in terms of whether genetic research shows that, say, you have a disposition towards cancer. I know with 23andMe and the results that you get from them, they state very clearly that those results only group you in a group of people who share similar genetic markers. It does not state that just because you share that marker with a person that you will get that disease or condition. So would that hold up in court? I would think not. In most legal situations, facts rule the day, not theory.
Jerry, you're the lawyer.
I'm not exactly sure what you're concerned about, what's going to hold up in court.
Okay, on 23andMe, when you get your genetic health results, they state that, for example, certain amount of out of 100 people, 40 people carry a similar genetic marker, all had cancer. Okay, but the other 60% of the people did not, and they still carry that marker. So they would tell you that you have a 40% chance of getting cancer. But they also state on there that this is simply theoretical science.
So they're opting out, and that's part of the whole thing.
No, they're not opting out. They opted into it. They carried that same genetic marker, but they didn't have cancer.
But the company is opting out of any responsibility, and that's part of the whole scary thing about finding out this information.
But that's not the question I was asking. I was asking how would that hold up in court?
I think what Chris is asking is if you find that you were denied coverage because a genetic marker indicated you may get cancer.
It's 23andMe research.
Right.
Well, sure, it would hold up. It would be a violation on part of the insurance carrier. But the reality of it, let's look at this in a real basis. Who's going to insure insurance? Who's going to sue an insurance company? You're talking about huge amounts of resources to be able to do that, and the average person won't be able to do that.
Adam, I wanted to bring up another issue. We could get to that in a second, but another issue that you talked about in your story. I mean, we all stood around the TVs when you did the story of Chris finding his family, but not every search has a happy outcome. Not every reunion results in a lifelong relationship here, and is that becoming a growing issue with this testing?
It is. There are, for every handful of stories, there are like Chris's or Joanne's, like we saw in the piece. There are other stories of maybe somebody who, donated DNA in college and never expected to see a biological kid knocking on their door 30 years later, but it's happened. It has happened because you can track down that person. And when you made that donation, you signed a non-disclosure agreement, but who's recognizing the non-disclosure now? I don't know if there is anyone at fault, but there are plenty of those stories. Closed adoptions, that kid may have been put up for adoption for a reason. That parent still may not want to face, that part of their life, and that exists out there. Obviously, we haven't gotten personally in touch with any of these stories, but I've read about them, I've heard about them, they are happening, out there. So, you know, that's why I kind of included that piece with Cece Moore, who made the DNA Detectives Facebook page, who's saying, you know, she warns people that are looking for family, don't expect a relationship. And Chris and I talked about that too. You know, you can't go in with expectations of a relationship because you don't know how these people are going to react.
And that's actually very common on the Facebook page. On the DNA Detective site, which I'm a member of on there, you see exactly the stories that you're talking about. There have been a few posts where people who their parentage donated, and that's what brought them about, and there's ethical concerns by them and other people regarding that.
We have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
According to Golf Digest, 2 of the nation's top golf resorts are on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, the Alberto Palaika Marriott at Grand National, and the Renaissance Ross Bridge Golf Resort and Spa in Birmingham. Plus, the Marriott at Grand National was recognized as Hotel of the Year by Marriott International. Experience luxury and world-class golf Southern style. Visit rtjgolf/resorts or call 800-949-4444 to book your trip to the trail.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blog, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts, and we'll start with you, Adam, because with all these concerns that are out there, how careful are these companies in terms of making sure that, in terms of public relations and in terms of policy, that they are not going over the line?
Publicly, they seem to be acting very careful about it. They haven't really been tested yet. I think we're still going to be pushing that envelope through this year with lawsuits, court cases. The Golden State Killer, that was kind of a big issue that came up because they found that suspect through the DNA testing sites, and there were a lot of questions. How did they find him? So I don't think we know the answers to those yet. I think we're going to find out a lot over this year and the next year.
And Jerry, is government at any level getting involved in terms of regulating them, in terms of the results of their testing, the quality of their testing?
They're way far behind the curve on this. There are no standards, and the FTC always talks about efficacy, and there has to be backup when you make a claim. There's no rules or regulations on this. These people can make any claims they want, and there's nobody really to hold them to it.
You know, Chris, you heard what the risks are and what Jerry's concerns are, but I would imagine that inside here, that at this point you know things, you have answers to questions that you always had, and you know what has happened since that meeting?
Well, I've gotten to know my biological sister and brother, and I have another biological sister. I have a lot of biological siblings, it turns out. I have another biological sister in California who I've gotten to know very well. We have a very nice relationship fostering. I have a biological sister from my mother's side in St. Louis that we're just starting to get to know each other. I have a biological brother who actually just reached out to me for the first time this weekend. I had been kind of sending him Facebook messages like, hey, how you doing? And his sister finally got in touch with him and said, hey, this is your brother. And he's oh my gosh. So me and him talked for like an hour on Saturday for the first time, which was kind of cool. I'd like to make one point. Adam pointed out the California killers, the Golden State Killer case. GED Match, which is what the police used in that case, is not a DNA testing site. That is a public DNA database where you can upload your DNA results to. I'm not saying what was done was not unethical per se, but they don't, what I wanted to clarify is they don't do testing. That's people who get results upload voluntarily to that site.
And that's a story for another time. But thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about Friday night's show on the school shooting in Texas. 10 people were killed, 10 others were injured. A 17-year-old student arrested for allegedly opening fire in the school. The suspect used a shotgun belonging to his father. Like with other school shootings in the past, change is being demanded, whether it's better background checks or stricter gun laws. But will this actually change anything? We went to Facebook for your thoughts, and Michael says, I guess that blows the raise the age to purchase guns theory. Once again, you have to get the mentally ill kids out of the school system. You have to address that first. Alice says, why aren't the parents being held accountable for having unsecured weapons in their house and not knowing what their kid was doing online? And Casey says, better parenting, ending bullying, and working on mental health issues. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank all our guests for being here tonight. ABC7 broadcast director Chris Milanese, who just found his long-lost relatives through 23andMe and Ancestry.com. Our consumer watchdog Jerry Zivick, and ABC7 reporter Adam Cellini. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather. Plus, President Trump wants the DOJ to look into whether the FBI spied on his campaign and if they were ordered by the Obama administration. Stay with us.
Hello, Mom.
Amanda's mom's appointment just got rescheduled for today. Amanda needs right at home. Our customized care plan provides as much or as little help as her mom requires, whether it's a ride to the doctor or help around the house.
Oh, of course. Tom, I am really sorry. I've got to go.
Look, call right at home. Get the right care right at home.
Everyone's buzzing about Suncoast View.
I like watching the Suncoast View.
I like the Suncoast View.
The cooking segments, I love the recipes. The theater segments are terrific.
Join Stephanie Roberts, Linda Carson, and special guests on Suncoast View for hot topics, everyday issues, celebrities, food, fashion, fitness, and everything in between. Nothing is off limits.
They're just fun.
For smart, fun talk in the afternoon, watch Suncoast View, weekdays at 4 on ABC7.
I just need a second.
Is your weight holding you back and affecting your health?
Did you see this? Your cousin had a heart attack.
Really?
Excess weight or obesity can be serious, but you can do something about it. Visit yourweightmatters.org. Download the free toolkit to prepare you to speak with a healthcare provider. Your weight does matter. Accept the challenge and take charge today. Visit yourweightmatters.org.
I'll be right back.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get the final check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Alan, we've been talking about it. We talked about it last week, a possibility of a tropical system developing before the season even starts. June 1st, the official start of the 2018 hurricane season. Well, it's not paying any mind to these dates, it looks like, as far as the tropics go. Watch this as I move through time here. This is, again, Friday morning. This is the GFS, which is the United States model, showing this system right here. Not quite a closed low here, but on the wind scale, up to 40 miles an hour possibly, moving off to the north. And there it is, closed low right there. This is Sunday at 4:30. Now, these are subject to change, and they are going to because there's not even a low pressure that is developed yet. But I just want to let you know about this, that it could be a wild weekend ahead. It's not going to be a tremendous windstorm, but it will be, if it does develop and move in that direction, a very heavy rainmaker. Again, if it stays even further out, which it has been trending to the left here, and stays over the warmer waters, we'll get in that southern stream and really cause a lot of problems with a lot of rainfall around town. Now, here's the European forecast model, again, taking you through time, coming out of the same location. And you can see the low spinning right here with all the weather, though, to the right of it. And that's typically the case with unorganized systems that aren't that well structured yet. You get a lot of the trouble to the right of the center of low pressure. This one in particular has it moving toward Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama on Saturday night and into Sunday morning. Thus, again, we're getting the onshore flow and the flow from the south, which would mean a good deal of rain expected for our area. So we'll watch these very closely. I just want to let you know about them. There is a chance, it's only at 20%, that it could become a tropical depression or possibly a low-end tropical storm over the weekend. At this time, though, we continue to watch this. This isn't anything to do with it in terms of this trough of low pressure, which is over the top of Florida for the most part, and that creates the instability. Just enough heating of the day spurs these showers and some heavy rainmakers. Right over the same location, we're still getting a lot of rainfall into Bradenton, all the way down into parts of Lido, and Longboat Key not as much, but boy, we had some heavy rainfall around earlier. These are some of the totals estimates just today, nearly 3 inches there near I-75 and looks like Clark Road, and also up to 1.5 inches already in Bradenton, and that was taken just about a half hour ago, 0.6 of an inch in Inglewood, and we had 2.5 measured from a viewer near Gulfgate. Now, the warnings are out there for the rivers, so we'll keep an eye on those for you too. Right now, flood stage at the Horse Creek is at 12 feet. They're at 12.7, so they're already above flood stage, and that could only get worse for the upcoming days if we continue to see these afternoon showers and storms. Now, here's the 7-day forecast as we see it. 70% chance for those afternoon and evening mainly storms, and then 50% chance on Wednesday and Thursday. And we'll be watching the tropics closely on Friday and Saturday, and possibly lingering on into Sunday. Alan will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $15 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand with no surprises and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service 4 times in a row. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-457-2317, go online, or visit a Target store today.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score.
It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach.
Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free.
You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine. Whee!
Checking primetime headlines, the president ordering the Department of Justice to investigate whether the FBI spied on his campaign. This comes amid a flurry of tweets over the weekend blasting the Russia investigation as politically motivated and a witch hunt. ABC's Tara Palmieri has more from Washington.
On which I'm about to enter.
At the CIA headquarters, President Trump swearing in the agency's first female director, Gina Haspel. This just hours after the president took a shot at former CIA Director John Brennan, quoting this Fox News analyst.
John Brennan has disgraced himself. He's disgraced the country.
The president tweeting those insults along with the false claim that Brennan launched the investigation. It was actually former FBI Director James Comey. Mr. Trump even quoting a suggestion that Brennan deserves jail time, tweeting, "This guy is the genesis of this whole debacle. This was a political hit job. This was not an intelligence investigation. Brennan has disgraced himself. He's worried about staying out of jail." This weekend, President Trump announced on Twitter that he's acting on his often repeated threat to intervene in the Russia probe. Tweeting, "I hereby demand that the Department of Justice look into whether the FBI DOJ infiltrated or surveilled the Trump campaign for political purposes, and if any such demands or requests were made by people within the Obama administration." This follows a report in the New York Times that the FBI sent a confidential informant to speak to 2 Trump campaign advisors who had made suspicious contacts with the Russians before the election. The FBI won't confirm that it used a secret informant, but last week the director did speak about the need to keep informants' identities and activities secret.
The day that we can't protect human sources is the day the American people start becoming less safe.
But today the president is asking for more. He wants the FBI to share confidential documents of their investigation into him and his campaign. Tweeting, "Only the release or review of documents can give the conclusive answers." The president met with Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and FBI Director Chris Wray at the White House today, where they agreed that they would expand the investigation into all irregularities at the FBI when investigating the Trump campaign. Tara Palmieri, ABC News, Washington.
Students in Texas marched to Governor Greg Abbott's home this weekend to push for stricter gun laws. The teens carried megaphones as they gathered outside the governor's mansion in downtown Austin last night. The group staged a symbolic die-in for 23 minutes. The students are calling for lawmakers to act and pass gun legislation.
Ted Cruz, Greg Abbott, Texas legislators, for as long as this is happening, we will march here. We will march there in our schools. We will speak and occupy and yell and lie down and sit and stand to make sure that common sense gun laws are enacted.
And today, a moment of silence to remember the lives lost in the Texas high school shooting. Students from Keir High School were among those who participated, along with employees at a Texas hospital. People also gathered outside of Santa Fe High School. 10 people were killed Friday when the gunman opened fire at the school. I'm Alan Cohn. That's all the time we have. Thanks for joining us. Good night.